Welcome back to Show Me Your Casa, and I have a few questions for you before we get stuck in. Would you trade a beautiful private pool in your back garden for a public park down the road? Would you trade a double garage with two SUV vehicles for a Metro card? And finally, would you swap a Florida estate with a huge yard for a 4-bedroomed apartment in Madrid City? Well, guess what? My next guest, Tiffany, did exactly that. She swapped the American dream for the Spanish reality. You're not going to believe what she has to say about it. Today, I am talking to Tiffany, who's an American that swapped her life in Florida and moved all the way over to Madrid. And she's going to give us a peek around her luxury apartment in Show Me Your Casa. So I want to introduce Tiffany today. Hi, Tiffany. Say a little bit about yourself and your family that's moved over from America to Spain.
Hello. Yes, I moved here in August of 2024 with my son, who was 13 at the time, and my husband. And I am a psychotherapist, and I was able to continue working with my clients in the US, and I just do all my therapy now virtually.
Fantastic. So before we take a look at your gorgeous apartment there in Madrid, let's just have a quick chat and find out what kind of life you had in the States before, like what kind of property you had and how that's different now to you living in an apartment in Madrid City.
Okay. So we lived in a small town in Florida. Um, and we lived in it's very suburban. So not urban at all, very suburban, a lot of gated neighborhoods type of thing. And our town had a very small, like downtown. And then our house, we lived in a big house, about 300 square meters, or if you want know square feet, it was about 3,000 square feet. We had a pond in the back, a pool, two-car garage, two giant SUV cars. We're living like typical suburban American life.
Wow. So this is a huge change. You've gone from a big house with a big yard and a pool and cars to move into an apartment in Madrid. I know it's a 4-bed, but it is an apartment, so it's going to be a lot smaller, to
Yeah.
no cars. I mean, that's a huge lifestyle shift. So I think we'll have a peek around your apartment and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty of, is it worth it for you? Like, what was the main reasons for you to go from that huge change over to something much smaller in Madrid? So let's take a peek at your casa. Show us your casa, Tiffany, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty.
So this is our front door. Walking in.
Have you got a lift?
We do. Here it is, right in front of our door, which is really nice. It's right there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Perfect. And what floor are you on?
I'm on the 5th floor.
Oh, nice. Bit higher up. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Perfect.
And every floor has four apartments.
Every floor has 4 apartments. Okay.
Yes.
And you've got a lift. Brilliant.
Yep. Yeah. And actually there's 3 lifts on every floor, which is a lot of lifts.
Oh my God, that's nearly a lift per apartment, nearly. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, this is our living room.
Beautiful. That's nice and open and spacious.
Yeah, it's a very nice space. And then I'm going to keep walking so you can see our terrace, which is my favorite spot to sit because it's very relaxing. And even though the view's not great of that huge building, if I sit down over here, then now I have this really pretty view of the park over there, which is a great city park.
Nice.
So that's nice to have. There's not a ton of big parks in Madrid. I mean, there's Retiro, but it's not like every neighborhood has a park. So that's one thing we really liked, is that it has a park because we have our dog Chewy, and we take him there multiple times a day. And there's a doggy park also where he can run around. So,
okay, lovely. So you've got your little bit of space out there, and can you play games in the park and things like that?
Yeah, they have paddle courts, basketball court, soccer field, and they have like a little running trail, so you can go running or walking. Our little dining, this is where we eat our meals.
Nice.
And then this is like the beginning of our kitchen, which is like an L shape, which is, it's small, but it's very functional. It's compact, but it has tons of like drawers and storage.
Yeah, it's very modern. I like it. Very sleek.
Yep. And then over
Very nice.
here, I love this little nook that they put in so we can leave out like our coffee makers and
Nice.
toaster and put our mugs up here. So I love that about it.
Really nice. Yeah, I love that. So
And then
everything's hidden
everything's kind of
away.
built in, huh? Yeah, you keep everything put away. Yep, tons of storage space. So even though it's small, I mean, it's small by American standards. I think by Madrid standards, it's a fairly large kitchen, but by American standards, it's tiny, but it works well for us. And then over
How do you
here,
manage without the American fridge?
you know, it's interesting. Like I do sometimes miss having a larger fridge, but I'll say that we go to the grocery store a lot more often here because we can walk to, there's like 3 grocery stores within walking distance. So it's not as big of a production. Like before in the US, we'd have to drive 20 minutes to the grocery store and we'd get everything for the week. And you needed a big fridge. Here, you don't need to have as much space because you're not buying as much and all at once. You know what I mean? Free room, junk area that we just throw things when you don't know what to do with them. But I
Fabulous.
I did get a dryer. There wasn't a dryer when we first moved in, and we did get one installed because that's just one American uh,
Yeah.
luxury I was not willing to give up. Although
No, I'm not
most
surprised.
people in Madrid, anyway, I don't know how it is where you are, Natasha, don't have dryers.
No, it's not a thing.
Yeah,
It really isn't a thing. So, yeah, very few
yeah,
people have them. So, how
yeah.
many
Very few.
bedrooms does your apartment have and
Has
bathrooms?
has 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. So this is the master bedroom, and it has these
Nice.
these closets on each side, like his and her closets, which are pretty small. They're not super spacious, but and we did have to get rid of a lot of our clothes because they just don't fit.
Yeah.
And then we have this tiny bathroom off the master. This was not originally in the apartment, so they added it on. So it's pretty small, but it's
It's
nice and it
cute though.
works.
Look at your little cute little bowls there. They're so adorable. Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I really wanted to have separate sinks because I don't know, like uh, after being married for over 20 years, it's important for my own sanity to not share a sink with my husband.
It's important to have that degree of separation as much as you can when you've been married
Yes.
for that long.
Yes, I don't want to see his chin hairs that he trimmed, you know?
No,
Okay.
no chin hairs, please.
No. All right, so this is the guest bathroom and it's nice. This is kind of
Yeah,
this is one of 3. And
very
then
nice.
off this is this is another bedroom, but I made it into my office. This is where I do all my virtual counseling sessions in here.
Very chill and zen. I like it.
Yeah.
Very calming with the colors. The furniture's nice.
Yes, this it all came with the apartment. The furniture is already furnished when we bought it.
Oh,
And again, I wouldn't say everything is my taste, but for now it's fine. We're like, we're not going to worry about changing things for now. We'll just little by
it's
little.
really nice.
Yeah, and it's
I think
nice.
it's really tasteful.
Yeah, it's
You
tasteful,
know?
and I think she did it like in a way that it's not like it's a little bit plain, so like probably anyone wouldn't mind it. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Yeah,
too, um,
neutral.
yeah, it was more neutral. That's what I was trying to say. All right,
Not like
this is
my
my
house. That's
huh.
bold as not like my house.
Right, because not everyone will. Some people. I think it's just it would appeal to more people probably. So
Yeah, exactly that.
this is the bathroom that's in my son's room. So we're now in his bedroom. That's his bathroom, which is very big. It's the biggest in the whole house. He's got lucky and got the biggest bathroom. This is his room. It's also a nice size.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
and bright.
Yeah, you know what? There is a good amount of light in here. But one thing I do like is that the sun, even though it's bright, it doesn't shine directly into the house, which is nice because in the summer it gets fairly hot in Madrid, and
Mm,
people often have to keep their blinds closed because of how much the sun heats up their apartment. But it doesn't do that to ours, so that's nice. Which I didn't even think about that when I was looking for places. It wasn't even something I considered. So we just got
no,
lucky on that. All right, this
yeah.
is my son's computer room. He's home today because he's not feeling well.
Oh,
And yeah, and I think I've shown you everything. That's it.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's nice, bright, open, spacious, like you say, neutral
Mm-hmm.
palette going on in there. You've got a nice favorite spot outside as
Yep. I'm gonna
well,
head
you
out there
know.
now.
Lots
Mm-hmm.
of lifts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of lifts. All right, I'm gonna turn it back around.
Okay, yeah, go and sit somewhere comfortable, Tiffany,
Okay.
and we'll have a conversation.
Okay.
So, how far out are you into the center of Madrid?
We are in the center. So
Slap bang.
it is in the center. We are 5 minutes walking to the nearest metro. So kind of how the city center is divided from the center to the suburbs is by a highway called the M30. And so anybody living inside the M30 is considered an El Centro. And so we're living right at the edge of El Centro. So we're living right at the edge of the M30, which is kind of nice because when we want to travel, we can just hop on that highway. So and go anywhere. Um, but yeah, we are in the center. We're 5 minutes walking to the nearest metro. I can get anywhere like within 15 or 20 minutes on the metro now. And then walking, I can walk too. I mean, some days I just feel like taking a longer walk. It takes me like 30 or 40 minutes to get anywhere. Um, and then in my neighborhood, it's a 5 minute walk literally to anything like bank, coffee shops, restaurants. There's like three or four grocery stores. Um, there's everything like a dry cleaner, like any possible thing you could think of is in my neighborhood, and it's literally 5 minutes walking. So I walk everywhere. I haven't driven a car since I moved here.
So, why Madrid specifically? You've got the whole of Spain to choose from. Madrid's like one of the most expensive areas of Spain to buy property in. It's the busiest, the most congested. So, why Madrid?
Well, my husband and I are big city people. We both grew up in big cities, even though we ended up in a small suburban town. And so we like whenever we would go on vacation, we would always go to a big city because we miss like big cities. So we knew when we were going to move here, we were going to pick either Barcelona or Madrid. And we ended up picking Madrid because my husband has family that lives in Madrid. And then the other reason we picked Madrid is because we're coming with our son, and we were going to put him in the Spanish school system, and we didn't want him to also have to learn Catalan, in addition to Spanish. So
Yeah,
that's why I picked Madrid. Yeah,
okay. That makes sense. If you're big city people anyway, that floats your boat,
yeah,
then why not come to the biggest one in Spain?
right. The capital.
The capital. Okay, I'm going to talk about pricing now.
Okay.
So, I know you from before, Tiffany, and I know that you came over on the golden visa. We worked together for a little while.
Right.
So, you had to have 500,000 to purchase on the golden visa. Unfortunately, that's been and gone now. So you got in there just in the nick of time.
Yes.
So that's the price that you bought the apartment at.
Right. It's a little bit more than that, but yeah, we had to spend at least a minimum of 500,000 to get the apartment.
Yeah. And I mean, to go from the big house with everything to the great sized apartment for Madrid, but I mean, they're like poles apart.
Yeah.
What pushed the move to Spain?
It's been great. I mean, we knew like we wanted a different type of life. Like the American suburban life was actually we were really kind of over it. Like we were bored of that, and we wanted to have more of a social life. We wanted to have more things to go to, like museums and theaters and concerts. And we wanted to like be able to see people. Like literally we would walk and we'd see nobody. Like we walk our dog and we wouldn't see another soul. And some people love that, and that's fine. Like, but we're both extroverted city people. So we wanted to live in a place where we could walk outside of our door and see other people and go to museums and concerts, and that's what we were looking for. So honestly, like I mean, people ask, don't you miss having a house? I don't. I really don't miss having a house. I think about our house sometimes and like I have fond memories of the time that we had there, but I don't miss having a big house to take care of. It's a lot of work. You spend a lot of your time on the weekends taking care of it, like cleaning it, mowing the lawn. Like the pool also requires a lot of time, repairs. So, I mean, a lot of our free time on the weekends was spent like taking care of the house. And now I don't have to worry about that. I can spend my weekends socializing with people.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Any cons at all that have crept in the year and a half that you've been living over here?
In terms of like living in a smaller space, I think the one con is not having a lot of storage. So some apartments will come with a storage unit, which they call trasteros here. Ours did not. So we didn't have that. So like for bigger items like our bicycles, we had to rent one. And then just in the house or in the apartment, there's not a lot of storage. So I guess that's a con. And then the only other con is this year is the first year we're going to be paying taxes. So we are a little freaked out about that. We don't know yet what our taxes are going to be, but both of us are considered autonomous here, and we just started paying that, which is quite expensive to be an autonomo here. I feel like the U.S. does a much better job at incentivizing entrepreneurs and people who are self-employed, and I feel like Spain has a lot to grow in that area. They kind of de-incentivize people, I feel like, to be a business owner. So that's probably like the biggest con in terms of our careers here is just how expensive it is to be a business owner here.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah.
Spain's, massive thumbs down for that. I mean, everything
Yeah,
else is great. And then you do taxes here if you're a self-employed person and you're crucified. It's the
I
same with
know.
the UK. Taxes are way better in the UK than they are here. And the hacienda's horrific if they get their teeth into you. So
I
yeah, I
know.
feel your pain.
Yeah.
Try and get a tax simulation done as soon as possible, because I think the worst thing is not knowing what you're going to be liable for.
Yeah, we
I
don't
do.
know. So we're just like we're just like, we'll see what
Okay, well,
happens.
no, we'll get you connected with somebody
Okay.
that can do a tax simulation, and then at least you know what's to come, rather than
Okay.
it be a tax bill being landed on you. Because once you get the tax bill in Spain, you have to pay it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So at least if you know in advance,
Okay.
then. But we'll sort that out after the call. Don't
All right,
worry.
that'd be great.
I'd hate for that to happen to anybody.
Yeah.
How expensive it is. I mean, the thing is, you haven't lived anywhere else in Spain to compare
Right.
cost of living prices to different areas of Spain. So I can't ask you that. And obviously, the States can be expensive with grocery costs and
Yes.
general living
Hmm.
anyway. But how are you finding it, your personal experience from the US to living in Madrid, like cost of living wise, like going out for meals, three of you going out for drinks, food shopping? Which is more expensive, the US or living in the capital city of Spain?
Definitely the US. So the small town in Florida I lived was way more expensive and than living in Madrid. Um, I will say, so if someone were renting this apartment, I kind of looked to see what a 4 bedroom, bath apartment is in this neighborhood, and it's an average of like 2,500 euros a month. So that's pretty pricey, and I think pretty comparable probably to the small town we were living in. So we don't pay that because we bought it, but I think if you wanted to rent, that's where you're going to see your biggest expense. But in terms of everything else is cheaper. The utilities are way cheaper, way cheaper. Like I can't believe how cheap internet is here and like cell phone. Like we would pay for our cell phone and internet like $300 or $400 a month in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah, and here it's like 60 for all of that. Our food costs are way lower, way lower. We would definitely spend every week $300 to $400 a week on groceries for 3 people, and now we spend like half of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like 150 on groceries, and we buy like good stuff. We buy like we go to the seafood market. We buy fresh fish, and go to the butcher and we buy really good meat. And we go to the little fruteria stands and buy good fruits and vegetables. And so we're getting good quality things, and it's way cheaper. So our lifestyle is way cheaper. Um, yeah. So definitely our money goes a lot further here. Again, if you're renting, then I think you have to factor in that's going to be your biggest expense. In terms of going out in Madrid, it's still cheaper than going out in the US, like way cheaper. But it is, I can compare that because when I travel to other cities in Spain, it is way more expensive than going out to eat in other cities. I have noticed that. I'm like, because I always been surprised, like, whoa, this is like so much cheaper than going out to eat in Madrid. But even though Madrid is probably one of the most expensive places to eat out in Spain, it's still cheaper than the US.
Okay. So in general, cheaper, cheaper, cheaper than the
Yes.
US,
Yes.
except taxes.
Except taxes. Yeah. And then housing, like rent, if you're going to rent. Yeah.
That'll come and bite you in the arse at some point in Spain, honestly.
I know.
You've just got to attribute it. From the UK, I can call it the sunshine tax because we hardly got any, and I appreciate the US, you get a lot of sunshine. So I think you have to attribute the tax that you pay to something that you love to make it a better pill to swallow is what I say to people, because it is a bit of a bitter one. Okay, and just to wrap up.
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Yes,
Because you brought that up. So the other thing that's way cheaper here is we do have private insurance, although because we are autonomous, we are paying into the public system. So we do have the public healthcare as well, but we did get private insurance. Oh my God, so much cheaper. Like in the US, we paid for the three of us $3,000 a month.
what?
Yes. And this is, Natasha, this is like not, this is common. And it didn't even cover everything. So we still had co-pays, we still had deductibles. And if we had to go to the hospital, it only covered a portion. So this policy, I think we paid like 250 euros for all three of us. Oh, by the way, the other policy in the US did not cover eyes or dental, like teeth. It only was like medical health. This policy is like 250 euros, all three of us. It covers everything: dentistry, ophthalmology, medical. And we literally have no co-pays. Like the first time I went to an appointment, I was like, where do I check out? They're like, you don't need to check out. I'm like, do I need to pay anything? And they just looked at me like, what are you talking about? Like, you have health insurance. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Crazy to me as an American. And I know other Americans will relate. So that's a huge saving. So when you said, you pay taxes, that's what I feel like I'm paying taxes for having great health care that's affordable, for feeling safe to walk home at night by myself. For yeah,
no gun crime.
Yeah, no guns. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention that. Yes, huge. So that's what I have to tell myself. That's what you're paying for.
That's true. That's the payoff, right? That's the payoff. And there's always a trade-off with moving to Spain, especially when it comes to taxes. So yeah, you've got to find out what that is. You've just listed a bunch of them, which is amazing. Actually, can we just very quickly talk about a woman in Madrid and how safe you feel walking back? Has there been ever a point at all in time? I think one of the things we hear about major cities is pickpocketing being like the top crime, right? But as a woman, I'm totally feel safe where I live on the Costa del Sol, walking around at late at night. Not that it happens very often anymore because I'm just too old to be out late. But on the odd occasion when it happens, yeah, I wouldn't think twice. But in the UK, I would think twice. So is that the same for you? In the States, you would, but you feel safe enough to have that freedom as a woman?
Yeah, I never walked home at night as a woman in the US ever. And I even like during the day, sometimes I would, depending on where I was, I'd feel a little uncomfortable walking by myself, especially if there's not that many people around. So I would always feel a little bit on edge. Here, I feel completely safe. I walk home all the time. I go out with friends, my girlfriends, and my husband that come with me, and I walk home at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I feel totally safe doing that. Because guess what? There's people out too. That's the other thing, is that because it's a big city and there's, Madrid really comes alive at night. Like at 10 o'clock is when people go out to eat dinner. So at 1, they're still out. So when I'm walking home, there's tons of people around. It's not like it's deserted. So I feel very safe. I've never felt scared. Now I am, aware of like, I don't walk like with my purse like hanging behind me, or I don't, when I in a restaurant or a bar, I don't hang my purse on the back of my chair. And when I'm in the metro and there's it's full, like if there's a lot of people around me, I make sure I put my purse in front of me and hold it against me. So just like simple kind of city behaviors.
Common sense.
Yeah, common sense. But I've never felt scared. And I know a lot of women here and they feel the same way. And nobody I know has ever been pickpocketed. I feel like maybe they target people who are obviously tourists, who kind of look like they don't know what they're doing or confused. If you kind of act like you know where you are, what you're doing, I don't think you're much of a target. The thing is that in the US, I wouldn't let my son go out at night with his friends. I mean, at all. Like I would have to take him, and he was only really going over to other friends' houses. They weren't going out. But now he's 15. He goes out by himself. He meets up with his friends using the metro. They go out to dinner. They walk around the Corte Inglés. They might go to a soccer field together and play soccer. And I feel totally safe. Like I know that he's fine.
How does he feel?
Shall we ask him?
Well, I don't know. Well, we can try.
We can try. I didn't want to ask him. If it's not good, you can edit it out.
I don't want to impose on him. If he's willing.
Oh yeah, I think he is. Hey, honey, Donovan.
Yeah,
Will you talk a little bit about? Can you pause for a second? Your game.
sure.
Probably not.
Yeah, he said yes. Can you um tell us a little bit about like what's it like to be a teenager in Madrid versus like living in the States? All right, my turn. Yes.
Um,
Hello.
well, I would say that I can go out a lot more without having to be worried about safety, and there's a lot more things to do here for teenagers, and just a lot more fun to be a teenager here in Madrid, I'd say.
Fabulous. How are you finding the language, the Spanish?
I think I picked it up. I picked it up pretty fast. I think now I'm pretty much fluent.
Amazing. And you've got a mix of friends, international friends and Spanish friends, have you?
Yeah, so I go to like an international school right now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Americans, but there's also people from different countries that are their first language is English as well.
But then
Yeah.
also he's on a Spanish like local Madrid soccer team. So he's all his soccer mates are Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay, he wants to go now.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you for talking with me. Thank you.
That's as much time as we get. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. Look, gaming takes precedence. I get it. If you're home, I get it. That's amazing though. I know, and the fact that he's fluent now at
Yeah.
15 is fantastic.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
you feel very happy in your life choice to change
Definitely.
countries, and it's impacted positively for all your family, your husband as well.
Yes. We're all very happy. Um, we all love living here. I think the only thing that's impacted my husband, which has not impacted me because I've been able to continue my work with US clients, is that he's a dentist and he wants to be able to practice here. But in order to do that, he has to get a license in Spain, and he qualifies. But the Ministry of Science, who has to approve the license, is basically really, really behind on reviewing applications. So even though he submitted it even 6 months before we moved, so now it's been 2 years, they still haven't gotten to his application yet.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
So that's the part.
Frustrating.
I think in the beginning he was like, "This is kind of nice," and he kind of was like, "I'm taking a sabbatical," which he's never been able to do before. But I think now it's kind of he's like, "Okay, I'm ready now to work." I mean, he's been able to teach dentistry, so he teaches in a private university here in Madrid. So that's given him like something to do in his field. But he wants to get back to seeing patients and hasn't been able to do that. So I guess it's another con maybe of like there's a fair amount of bureaucracy in Spain that you have to navigate. And that's most of the things we've figured out pretty easily, but that's been the thing that has been the biggest hurdle.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
wheel turn very slowly here in Spain, except if they want your taxes, then it's very quick. It's more
Right.
rapido, it's very quick. But
Right.
everything
Everything
else
else is very
country,
slow.
yeah, it's so slow. It feels like it's in reverse. Oh well, fingers crossed that Hubby manages to be able to carry on doing his profession, what he loves, and
Yes.
something shifts dramatically this year
Yeah.
for him.
You need.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And one thing before we go,
Yes.
final question, Tiffany.
Mhm.
If somebody's looking to move to Madrid, and that's where they want to be, what one bit of advice can you partake in anybody that's not moved yet, but Madrid's on their radar? Like what could you tell them to do to make the transition over to Madrid smoother?
Hmm. I would say really researching like what neighborhood they want to live in. If they want to live, in the city center or they want to live outside the city center, really kind of getting a feel for the neighborhoods and what would be a good fit for them. And then I think if they have kids and they're wanting their kids to go to school, I think it's really awesome to kind of figure out is the school can the kids get there either by walking or on the metro? How easy is that? I think that'd be something to consider. And then I think finally, like really trying to put an effort into learning the language because I think it'll make your world so much bigger if you're able to speak Spanish. And even if you don't speak it perfectly, like just trying, people appreciate that. And I think it just makes your integration a lot more seamless if you speak some Spanish.
Yeah, for sure. Fantastic. Thank you for showing us your gorgeous apartment.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your new life in Spain, and I'll
Thank
touch
you.
base with you soon.
All right.
Bye,
Sounds
Tiffany.
good, Tasha.